Hey everyone, Darren Connell here. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to part 3 of this Wilson Fisk tutorial. Let me just check everything's running. Microphone is on. Music is playing. Clock is ticking, which means it is recording. We're all good. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the series. I've been doing a lot of stuff, so I get a little bit confused of what I'm actually doing at any one time. We're doing Wilson Fisk now, aren't we? Kingpin. Right, so in the last video we were working on this head. We were doing various layers, dry brushing, small washes, small glazes, thin paint essentially, here, there and everywhere, different colours, just starting to build up the variation that you need on a colour to make it look more realistic. And there's still way more to go, but it's essentially the same stuff. You are taking a flat skin colour, which action figures used to be just made by. They're much better these days, but you can still do better with them. And often when people are starting to paint, they will just go, what's the best skin colour? Or what colour skin do you paint? You need about 15 colours, and to do them in lots of different layers and different techniques. You can't just say, oh, here's... You can't just go, here, that's skin. That solves all your problems. It doesn't work like that. It's lots of layers. So we take the base skin layer that we are working from, which is my replacement for my old tanned flesh colour that I used to use on these MP paints that used to be mine for the last... How long have I been doing this? Where are we? 2019. 13 years. I was using those paints. I got to know those paints. I knew what colours I needed to do different things. But nobody could buy them. I got them from my local art shop here in Liverpool, and you just can't buy them on the internet. It's not a well-known brand. So I changed over to Vallejo because everyone can buy them really easy. The only problem was I didn't know how to use them. I mean, I know how to use them, but I didn't know what colours were the equivalents of what I used to use. So I was, and still am I suppose, going through the process of learning different ways to do things. Now at first I was trying to replace specific colours. So if this was tan flash, I was trying to find a colour that was exactly the same as that and going, okay, that's now tan flash. And what I realised quite quickly was that's not the way to do it. You can do it, and I probably could find alternatives, but it would take me ages and I'd have to go through... They sell like 300 different colours or something. It's insane. I paint everything with about 12 colours, I think. So what I've been doing is finding not necessarily alternative paints to replace those exactly, but different ways of doing something. So instead of doing tan flash, what I do now, I've got it written down because I'm still learning it, is I will take and we'll have covered this in the first video, but I'm talking about it because I'm talking about it. That and that and that. So we take beige red, which is a sort of skin-ish colour, and we add a drop of sunny skin tone, which is a bit yellower, a bit more bright, and we add a drop of vermilion, which is red essentially. Those three together give me a colour that's sort of tan flash. It's not exactly the same, but it's enough of an alternative to that we can work from it and go, right, that's okay as a base, now let's add things to it. So that's what we do. So we did that base of those three colours mixed together, and then we've been adding colours, and that's what we're doing more of today. So I'll bring the camera in, we'll get on with it. It's very hot in the studio. I've got, obviously my computer is on all the time, I've got two screens in front of me, I've got a big light here, I've got a light over there. I can't open the window because then flies get in, or it gets noisy and things drive past, or every time I seem to want to record, the council will go past and try and cut the grass outside or something with a big noisy things. So I've got to have the windows closed. And it's very hot in here at the moment because Europe is sort of going through a bit of a heat wave. And I have to sit in here melting, trying to paint. I'm trying to look good on camera and I'm like, oh my god, I'm sweating. Anyway, let's get on with this. Let's get my keyboard out of the way. Let's pull in my paint board thing to about there, I think. Let's get these brushes out of the way. Excuse me. I had a pork pie before and I've got bits of pork pie stuck in my throat. It's making me cough. Alright, so let's bring this over. I think... Oh god, that's hot. Because that light's on all the time when I'm working, it's very hot. That's giving off so much heat. I bet if I replace that, and I want to at some point, but it's... As with most things, it's money. But I want to replace that, which is like a 2-tube fluorescent light. And it's perfect for what I've done, and I've used it since I bought it, for years. I don't know when I bought it. Years and years ago. But I want to replace it with an LED alternative, and you can get exactly the same thing, the same sort of shape, on the same movable arm, but LED daylight lights. And I guarantee that gives off way less heat, which would be perfect for today. Now let me make sure I've got my chair at the right. That's about right. Because with this new chair, my old chair would have been sort of more like that. So if I leaned back in it, I would be back here somewhere. I'm like, I can't work. So I used to have to sort of sit up on the edge of the chair. With this one, it's way more adjustable, so I can actually have the back of the chair right behind me. So if I want to lean back, I can lean back, but I'm still upright, which is much better. So let's change to the overhead camera. Hello, let's put me in the corner. Hello. Right, where is the focus? Let's get a thing. So that's too close, that's too far away. About there. About there, okay. So in line with that microphone. You can't see that, I can see there's a microphone in front of me, I'm just working out. So I know in my head when I'm working where I need to hold this, and also slightly off to that side to get away from me in the corner. Okay, so about there is good. Perfect. Let's get on with it. Let's bring Wilson over. Come on, Wilson. Get over here. I'm not going to do an impression of Wilson. Okay, so we were adding lots of subtle colours, and there's still more I want to do. I want to make him a bit more purple. I want to make him, because that will help sell the angry thing. You know when someone gets really angry and they get red-faced? Or if they're sitting in the studio in a heat wave with the window closed by hot lights, getting red-faced, that sort of thing. That red-faced is something that Wilson had, even though he was a lot of the time trying to project this calm demeanour. He always had this anger bubbling underneath. And when he did that, you could see he was getting slightly red cheeks and slightly red forehead, and I want to add a bit of that. So his forehead, his cheeks, his nose, his chin, I want to make him a little bit red and purple just to hint at that. I want to add a little bit more yellowish colour just here and there, not all over that, just bits of it, maybe a bit of brown. But we are essentially doing the same. What I might do is if I bring this camera, forgive the movement, anyone who has motion sickness. If I bring this down a bit closer, I might have to change the focus. Let's see, so if I can work there, you can see that. So if I can get up my camera settings and camera 1, no, that's camera 2. Where's the focus? Advanced focus. Let's bring the focus up. Oh, not that much. There you go. That's good. So I can work on that. The camera is much closer now. If you look at me in the corner down here, that's the camera there. Put my hand behind it. There you go. That's the camera, and that's how close it is between, whoops, don't touch the camera down, between the camera there, don't touch the camera down, and Wilson's head there. So it's just, it's that much, it's a few inches, but the camera was a little bit higher. But what that does is let me get it large enough in shot that you can see more of the detail, but because it's on a long neck coming down from the light that it's attached to it, it doesn't mean the light isn't suddenly in my face. I can still work on that, and that works perfect. There you go, bingo, let's do that. So what do I want to do? I'm looking at that. I want to add, I'm going to mix some, let's get some random purples. So I'm going to get some blue, got an ultramarine here, I've got a royal blue here. Now this is my old paint, I haven't replaced my royal blue yet. I bought this ultramarine and it's way brighter than what I want. This royal blue is darker. So I'm going to use this. I've got it. I might as well use it. But I want a Vallejo equivalent. But let's get those there. Let's get two different reds there. Let's see. And let's get a bit of brown. I guess some flat brown. That's a okay colour. And we're just going to start mixing these up. So, pick a brush. Anyone will do. I'm just doing random stuff here. A little messy brush here. It's got paint on the end of it, so that's no good. That'll do. Little rubbish, bendy, messy old brush, which is perfectly fine for what we're doing here because we're not doing anything detailed or very colour specific. Just move some things out of the way. So let's put this back up here so you can sort of see what I'm doing. I've got the water over there, I've got the kitchen roll over there, but I can have this on here. Now this, ignore this bit, that is cling film which I put on there to try and keep some paint under there a little bit wet. I don't know if it's still working, let me check. Oh, it is, bizarrely. I've been using this for a long time. That's sticky, but it's still retrievable because I had to mix a particular colour for a commission that I'm doing, painting a statue, and I needed to match a colour and repaint the whole thing, so I needed a lot of the paint and I needed to be able to go back to that colour and not have to remix it and then it would be different. I needed to have a supply of that colour that I could work with, and I haven't got any little containers. I've got these ones, but all the old MP ones I've either got paint in that's usable or paint that's completely dried up and I couldn't get it out. So I thought, I know, I can just mix some in there, and honestly I didn't need that much anyway. Mix it in there, stick some cling film on the top of it, and that will just stay there. And it did. It got me through pretty much everything that I needed. I'm leaving it there for now, just in case I need it again in the next few days. But that's what that is, so ignore that. That is keeping some paint from completely drying out. Purple, right. I'm going to get a little bit of royal blue. Let's put this, oh, I don't know, there. Put the lid back on because I'm probably not going to use a lot of this. Let's use some flat red. Get some water, mix it up. Let's chuck a bit of this. Whoa, too much. I didn't shake it up, so it was all liquid and it came out. Hello, bizarrely, that actually worked. Actually, okay. Let's mix that up. Make it a little bit more blue, and then I'm going to thin it right down. Ooh. Just a little drop of that. Let's lift it up so you can see what I'm doing. So that's the red colour. Just put a bit of blue there, and I'm just mixing it in little bits until I think I've got it right. Actually, the whole lot can go in. That's fine. So let's get some. I'm just chucking some water in there. I'll be back in a sec. A little bit of flow enhancer. Oh, it needs to be way more thin. There's way more paint there than I realised. I need. This brush isn't picking up as much water as I wanted. Okay, so this is all water here, and the paint is running down here. So I'll just keep on bringing that back up. That's thinner. See the difference between that was painted and that is all watery? That's what I want. Thin, watery colour that is not going to overpower the head. Because I want it to be subtle and a bit random. So I'm going to actually take that bit that I've just pointed out to you. I'm going to test it on the back of his ears, because the back of ears is always a bit safe, because people's ears are always a bit red, so you can test a colour out on this. It's actually quite thick still. Oh, I've just heard my stomach gurgle. Okay, let's do, making sure that you can see it. Do a little bit on his chin. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the paint on. It's thin and watery, and then I'm just dabbing it with my finger, which is clean. I've just washed my hands before I started. I always do that. I'm just going to go on here and there and add a little bit of paint, thin watery paint. But you can see it's a bit blotchy, a bit too pronounced. Then I'm using my finger just to thin it down, spread it around, soften it up a bit. Now this is going to be, it's going to look a little bit clownish with this, because it's quite because I'm putting it all on in one go. He's looking quite red. I don't want the whole lot to be like that, but it's looking a bit pronounced. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have some skin and some brown colours put down on top of that, and it will help push it back a little bit. What I'm going to do is get a little bit of water, make that even thinner, so I can go in just in certain bits. Dab it around. Now under his eyes should be a bit more purple, but I'm gonna, well, I've got this colour, I might as well add a little bit to his upper eyelids. Now, I could, and I will in a second, change colours, but why? What I figure is I've got this colour here, I know all the various places around his head where I want it to go. Some of them I can sort of, I know in advance I want to put colour there, I want to put colour there. Some of it I'm just looking at it as I'm doing it. So I'm going around using up all the colour, and then we'll change over. We'll add something a bit different on. Okay, that's alright for now for the reds. I'm going to get a little bit of yellow. What can we do? Do we use... Okay, we've got a colour here. It's called Dark Flesh. It seems very yellow. I don't know why that's called Dark Flesh at all. But that's the colour. I think I might use that. I normally would stand this up on the stand over there, but I'm just going to balance him there for now. It's not going to hurt. The board is very dry. There's no paint that's going to damage him. Now, I haven't used this colour before, so I'm trying to shake it up here, and I can feel it. It's not really wanting to mix. Oh, that'll do. Let's drop a bit of that out over there somewhere. I only need a tiny bit of that. So that's the very yellow colour. So let me get some water, thin that right down. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. I'm doing this in specific places and also a bit random all over the place. It's just an overall tone that I can see when I look at the head. I'm thinking, I want that to be a little bit more this colour, a little bit more that colour. Some stuff like that that you do sort of follows rules of what people look like, or follows rules of decent ways to paint things of certain scales to make them look good. A lot of it is just you using your eyes and your judgment and looking at something and going, does that need to be a bit more brown? Does that need to be a bit more blue? And just doing it. And the worst that's going to happen is that you have to paint over it. And that's not the end of the world. You can't make any mistakes, or I should say you can make mistakes, but they're not going to kill anything. They're not going to ruin anything. If you make a mistake and if you go, that's not what I wanted. Okay, I've done that a load of times. You just go over it and do it again. And you either take the paint off if you need to be really, really drastic, or in most cases you just get a slightly different colour and you go over it. You can't ruin anything, so it's worth trying. If you think, I think that's going to be better if I do this colour, put that colour on it. You will either be right, or if not, then you will learn for next time that that wasn't the thing to do. And that process by itself is what makes you end up being better. If you're just following a procedure, or a set of instructions almost, then you won't know what to do or why or any of that kind of stuff. So doing something and getting it a bit wrong is actually a really good thing to do. So do not be too scared about doing that. Even though I know it's very natural to want to be terrified of doing that. Even just from a lazy point of view, you'd rather not give yourself any more work than you have to, and that makes sense and I get it. But just don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm just adding this yellow colour. What was it called? Dark flesh. I don't know why that's called dark flesh. It should be called dark yellow. So I'm just going over, adding bits of this yellowy colour all over the show. Just looking at different pictures of him and thinking, okay, that could do with being a bit more of that there and a bit more of that there. And it's not going to give the final look, but it will help, you know, it's variation. It's all about variation. And the more of that you get on things, the better they look. As long as you're doing it with a decent, you know, a decent eye, a decent judgment, and you're looking at reference pictures, which is always important. Okay, I think I'll do the yellow for now. I want to get a little bit of skin colour and just tone back those cheeks a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, because... Sorry, my computer is giving me loads of updates at the moment and I don't want that. I'm working. I'm going to get the beige red, which is the base to the alternative tanned flesh. I'm just going to put a little bit of that down. I just want some rough skin colour, you know, just vaguely skin-ish sort of colour. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm not after a perfect thing here. I just want a bit of watery skin-ish colour. Where are we? Because I just want to knock back the red on those cheeks a little bit. I want it to still be there, which is why it's watery colour and I'm not going on with thick colour. I'm just going over it a bit, blending it out. Making it equal on both sides, because you never want heads to be too symmetrical, and I always deliberately try and make things a bit different, but you don't want to do it so odd in a way that when you look at it, it looks like it's being painted by two different people. So you want it to be part of the same head, but you want things to be a little bit different. You know, just you don't want them to be carbon copies of each other. So I'm also thinking ahead and thinking, when I do this, he's going to have the stubble shadow put on his upper lip, sort of here. He's going to have some of that down here. He doesn't have a huge amount, it's very thin, but he's got it sort of down here and down here. He does have it on his upper lip. He also has it on his hair, where you can sort of see the shape of that there. That's going to get a little bit added. But it is quite subtle, but it's there. So I'm thinking ahead and thinking, okay, what will that look like when I've done that? What kind of colours do I need to do to that, if anything? Because I want it to look realistic, But I also want it to look dramatic, I suppose, but not in a sort of that's not how he would be way. I want it to work. But I just want it to be not completely flat. So I'm going to change brushes just for a second. Let's go to... that one should work. Just go into a little flat brush there. Where's that colour I just mixed? There. I'm doing my flicking. Now, people who have worked with me before know what this is. Take a colour, take a brush, and you flick the bristles and you get a little machine gun of tiny dots. And if you do that carefully enough and subtle enough, then it's a brilliant way of adding detail, random skin looking detail. So it could be skin pores, it could be moles, it could be just random skin stuff. It doesn't really matter what it is. But you can either do it randomly just to add vague generic detail to something all over, or you can do it in a particular way to try and make a person look more like that person. So if someone has really rough skin, loads of skin pores, loads of craggy detail in a certain place on his face, then do flicking in that bit with subtle, maybe darker colours, darker and lighter colours of the base colour, and that helps just add detail. When you look at it, I think that's this small, that's usually a couple of feet away. It's enough to add that detail where your brain goes, ooh, look at that. And that's what we want. We want people's brains to go, ooh, look at that. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to get a bit of brown. Did I have any of that brown still out? No, I used it, didn't I? Okay, let's get a different brown. I'm going to use this one. I've got this one here, which it's called Earth Red. It's a different one that I bought by mistake, and it's actually designed just for airbrushes, so it's pre-thinned down. So it's basically, if I got one of these and super thin one of these things and thinned it down loads, that's what this is, but it's pre-thinned down. I don't know why they need to have those different. Maybe people don't want to be mixing water in. I've no idea. So I'm just taking some of that, thinning it right down so it's almost water with a bit of colour. And I'm just going to do the same again. Tiny details. Because it's so watery, it's great that it doesn't leave massive marks or anything. It just dries and adds subtle little bits and pieces. Let me get, where's that? Yellow, sunny skin tone. I'm going to get a little drop of that, mix it in with the beige red. Let's put that there. And I'm going to do a bit of dry brushing there. I'm just going to take some of that colour and do a little bit on his cheek. Just want to push that colour back a little bit. That's looking good, this. I am being happy with this. I want to make it a more purpley colour. Let's put him back a sec. I want to make a purple colour with... No, I don't want to use that. Let me... Blue-grey. There you go. Grey-blue, as it is in this range. Now, this is the colour that I normally use when I'm making stubble. Forgive me if me shaking here is shaking the camera. I can't tell. It often does. So I'm just going to get some of that blue-grey, blob that down in there. Do I want to do this by itself? Let's get a bit of purple. So I'm going to add a little bit of red to it. To a bit of that. Oh, that's quite good. Let's thin that down. Right. So that is that colour there. So if I can, let's get some of that liquid on here. Does that flick? Subtle, but it should do. And I know this is probably not even showing up at all on here. On other video series that I've done, I've tried to do the flicking in a way where, like, right up in front of the camera. It's difficult to do, and I don't want to do that right now just because I just want to get on with this one. Also, at the moment I'm not really sure what I'm doing, so I'm doing a bit of experimenting here. Rather than showing a particular technique, which I've shown a lot of times previously, I'm just trying to experiment with the colour here and see what I can do. So let me take some of that bluey grey, let me thin that right down. Instead of making a slightly red version, let's just leave it as it is. Let's take some of that. Where's the focus? About there. Okay, let's see. Ooh, that's looking good. I like that. I'll tell you what we can do for now. Let me chuck that brush in there. I'm going to get, just as a way of getting a bit of colour on so we can start to see how something might look. What colour? Let's see. You know what? I might be able to take some of that blue-grey, add a bit of red to it. It's probably the wrong shade, but it'll work for now. It's just a bit, something a bit reddish, purplish, brownish. But it's not going to be the final colour. I just want to get some colour on his lips. Now this is really thinned down and subtle here. I'm just adding some, and what it does, sorry, I'm talking very slowly here because I'm trying to think ahead. I'm trying to think about what I'm doing next. I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm doing now, and the result of that means that I end up not talking very well. Sorry. What I'm doing is I'm painting a subtle, not finalized, not the end result, hint of reddish on his lips. I just want to get a bit of colour on there. And what that does, it helps you see how things are going to look. Even though it's not the full colour, there's going to be more layers on top, there's going to be different shades, you're going to add more detail and stuff like that, but just having a bit of red on there helps you see what the face is going to look like. And they should be a bit more purple, they should be a bit more brown, they should be a bit more close to his skin colour, and that's fine, that's going to all come, but I just wanted to get something on there to help me picture what they'll look like. Now what I do want to do, I've just realised, on that upper lip region where he has his stubble shade that's going to go on, around, and it's not much, some people have this really pronounced, he doesn't, but he's got it a bit, immediately above the upper lip there's a pale area of skin before you get to all the stubble above it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of pale skin to that upper lip region. How am I going to do this? Let's see, I've got one called Light Flash here. You know what? I might be able to use that. I don't know. This is the thing, I'm still learning the colours, so I'm basically looking at a thing and going by the colour instead of going by I know this is the colour I use, which is what used to happen quite a bit. I'm looking at colours and going, will that one work? So let's just get a little bit of that. I don't need much because I'm hardly touching it on his face. So let's get a little bit of that. We do this like a dry brush. Oh, that's actually too light. Let's add a bit of pink to it. No, that's a wake up. That's the wrong colour now. No, Darren, you got it wrong. I should have just gone with the skin colour. Yeah, that might be close enough. So I'm just taking some of that light colour, mixed a bit of, I think it was the yellowish skin colour, and I'm just, where's that focus? Oh, it's down there somewhere. I'm just adding a light bit. You know what, I am going to have to do that. Let's put him down a sec. So let's do this a different way. So if that was too light, let's get a bit of the skin colour, beige red. I call it beige red because it's nothing like beige or red. But that's what it's called. So get the beige red, get that pale whatever colour, light flash, mix them together, and then where did I put it? Try and change the focus or something. Oh, there it is. Try and just do a bit on the top edge. Now I'm sort of going over the colour that I've just painted on the lip, but that's fine because that was getting gone over again anyway. I'm just using this light colour to lighten the bottom part of the upper lip, the bit immediately above his actual lips, and it's just making a almost like an airbrushed lighter area just there. And then when that's got the stubble above it and the actual lips painted the correct colour, that'll look good. Now what I'm going to do, while I've got that colour, where did I have that? Let's do that. Let's do a bit more dry brushing with that. Because what I can do, let's look at some pictures. I mean, he doesn't really have much this colour, but I'm going to lighten up a bit of the side of the ear. We did a bit of this last time, I think. So I'm just doing a little bit more. Let's do the top of the cheek. Let's do a little bit. Just on the top of the chin. It's a slightly different colour. I've made more of the beige red in there instead of the light colour, just to make it a bit different, because we want these colours to all be a bit different. Now what I can do while I'm here, if I get some of that purpley bluey red while it's sort of thin, I'm going to put some of that on the inside of the ear to help start the shading process on the inside. Now that'll actually be done more with maybe a colour that's a bit more like umber or something like that, so the black brown will be added. But I just want to get some shading inside the ear just to start it with, and that's a good colour, good as colour any to start with, because it's sort of like a darker tone of what we're already working with. That's quite good. So we just got a bit of shadow inside there now, and a bit of shadow inside there, and there will be more to come, and I'll make that bit in there darker again. This bit is probably fine as it is now. That bit will go darker. And while I've got this colour, I'm going to add some, and I'm being fairly messy here because we're going to paint the eyeballs separately, so I don't have to worry about getting colour on the eyeballs, because they are going to be painted over. But I just want to get a bit of colour under these eye sockets. Before I go in with the actual colour, which is a much more grey, darkened down purple. But I really like, and you can't really see it, although I can probably, if I adjust the camera, let's see, show webcam settings, focus. Right, let's change this focus and see if I can bring this right up. Let's see how close. Okay, so you can see that's getting shadow there because that's the actual camera blocking the shadow of the light above it. So I've got to be a little bit further away. But I just want to see if I can let you. I mean, even with the shadow, maybe I might be able to show it. It's a bit difficult. Where's the focus? Because you've got to hold it really precise when you get close like this. I'm just trying to show any of the detail and the variation that I've done. Here you go. See those little red dots on the cheek? You can see that there is different colour around the face. There's slightly more grey looking areas, slightly more yellow looking areas, slightly more pink looking areas. You can see the lighter shade that we did on his upper lip there. Can't get too close because it goes into shadow, so it's going to have to go a little bit further back. But you can also see around here, if I can get it in focus, just little tiny dots all over the place, and around his neck and around his head, and they're all over the place. All these little things, just subtle early stages of adding variation to something to make it a little bit more lifelike. And not finished, not the finished result. We never get a head finished in 3 videos. Normally, what is it normally? 15 to 20 videos maybe to finish a head. Now this might not take that long because we're not painting hair or anything like that, but we might have to spend longer on the skin trying to make it look alive enough that you can do without a beard or hair or big eyebrows or glasses or anything like that. So just a big bald egg is enough to be interesting to look at. So this isn't the final result, but you can see the start of what we're doing there. We're just doing little shading alterations there, making a bit more red, a bit more light, bit of yellow, bit of blue, bit of purple, little dots and speckles all over it. And we're going to go in. Next time, what we're probably going to do, as I look at this, is go in with some lighter skin colour, not as drastic as that light colour that I did on his lip, but just a slightly lighter version of the overall colour. Slightly. And I'm going to speckle that around certain areas just to bring that to life a little bit. I think I want to get some brown on there as well. But it's essentially a continuation of what we've just been doing. And that's quite a lot of boring close-up stuff, and we're coming up to an hour already. So what I'll do is I'll stop it for this video. It's funny how it just, once you pull it away, it just looks like a brown skin coloured egg. You can't see any of the detail. It's only when you get like really up close to it. But that's the thing. I can, because of my eyesight, because I'm short-sighted, sorry. I can see things close, but I can't see things far away, which these let me see. So I can see you, I can see the screen, I can see out of the window. That's what these do. If I want to see something like close up to my face, I can pull my glasses down, look over the top, and I can look closer than most people can. Because most people get to a certain thing and it's like, oh, and it's too close to focus, but I can go closer than that because of my eyesight. So I get to see all these details really, really close. Most people, they look at it at 12 inches away or something, at least. So you want it to be pronounced enough that at that distance it shows up, even if they don't realise. It's just something that's there to make it a bit more alive and a bit more, have more variation. But also be subtle enough that it doesn't stand out too much. You want it to still look like a person's head. You want it to still look like skin. Especially as people take photos of things, and they do get zoomed up really big, so you've got to be careful with how you do it. But thankfully I can sort of look at something at a normal 12 inches, 18 inches away distance, and then look up super close and say, how's this doing? So I can do both. So in the next one, we're going to get a bit of brown on there, going to get a bit of lighter skin colour, speckled, maybe do some dry brushing as well, just to lighten up some random areas in amongst all the colours that we've just done there. But that's starting to look good. I like his ears look good. I like that extra colour that I put under there. No, that's good. I'm enjoying that. Let's put him over there. Let me... Don't push that out the way yet, Darren. Change cameras first. Oh, you'd think I hadn't been doing this for a long time. I always forget, and sometimes I just push the camera out of the way, and because people are looking at it, and some people watch this on the TV, so it's like a really big, and I just swing the camera out of the way and everyone gets motion sickness. I don't want people to come here and get motion sickness. So, that was number 3. I'm just cleaning the brushes that I was using just now, just to make sure that the paint doesn't dry on them. That was number 3. Thank you for sticking around. Thanks for waiting for these. I know they've been a bit slower than normal. Life seems to be slowly getting back to normal now. Parents and things like that are needing less help at the moment. It's going in the right direction, which is good. So I'm getting back in my studio more. Now the problem is, because I've been so far behind for so long, because I was looking at, in my case, looking after my mum when she broke her back, which was immediately after looking after Jane's dad, my wife's dad. Because I was so far behind, there's a lot to catch up on. So I'm sort of trying to do everything at the same time, which is it's kind of difficult, and it slows things down because I'm sort of having to do everything because everyone wants their thing to be getting worked on. So I could just go, I'm only working on this one thing now, but everyone else will be going, oh, why aren't you working on mine? So I'm trying to work on everything at the moment. It will all get caught up because life is seems to be getting back to normal now. I will get caught up and things will be back to normal, and then I can, do like 10 videos in a row or something, and there'll be no delays. So I know they've been a bit slow. I do appreciate your kindness and your patience in waiting while I've not been able to do them. Things are getting better, so if you can all do that at the same time, please. Thank you. Okay, that probably worked. Right, come back in part 4. I'll see you again. I don't even know what I'm talking about now. I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for sticking around. I hope this is a bit useful. He will look good when he's done. I can tell the skin is getting better. It's getting more detailed, getting even just putting shadows under the ears. That adds a lot. And as we do more things like that, and then start doing the eyes and stuff like that, it will start coming together. Not done just yet. It's never done in 2 or 3 hours, but it sort of feels like we're spending more time on it because he is more skin. Normally there's like this much skin, and then there's hair, and there's maybe a beard or whatever you do. It's this all over the whole thing, and you got to try and make it not just look like an egg, but still look human. So it's a balancing act. Anyway, come back in part 4. We'll carry on doing that. We'll do some more. We'll maybe paint the first layer on his eyes. I don't know. We'll do something. It depends if I get the stuff done on the skin that I want. Then we can start moving on to other things and just go back and forth between them. So look after yourselves. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Or have a good week whenever you're watching this. Look after yourselves. Look after people around you. Be nice to animals. And I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye.